It is that time of year again. It is time to rank my top 25 roller coasters that I have ridden. Now, overall, 2021 has been a pretty freaking good year for me. I graduated high school and was able to ride over 80 different roller coasters this year, with around 50 of them being new credits. That's pretty good. This year we visited 6 new theme parks and rode some new rides to open here at home. And next year is going to be even bigger. So to ensure you don't miss that, make sure you subscribe if you want to go theme park hunting as well. Anyways, let's just get straight into the video with number 25. In all my years of being a coaster enthusiast, Rip Ride Rockit continues to find a way into my top 25. And that trend continues here in 2021. While it barely made the list, Rip Ride Rockit is just such a phenomenal coaster. A vertical lift, a near vertical drop, the best non-inverting loop in the world, multiple airtime pops, and an intense helix. It truly has everything you want in a coaster. Plus, you get to listen to some awesome music, which really adds on to the experience. Now, while the ride has been toned down through the years like the slowed lift hill, it still delivers an action-packed and thrilling experience. Our first new coaster for the year on this list is Intimidator at Carowinds. I absolutely love B&M Hypers, and Intimidator did not disappoint. While the front row was extremely underwhelming, the back row is where the ride shines, as the long train just gets whipped over each and every one of those hills. While others may disagree, I truly think Intimidator is one of the best B&M Hypers out there. I know this one may get some hate, but I absolutely adore the Vekoma Flying Dutchman model. If I included defunct coasters in my rankings, you would easily see Firehawk in my top 20. However, our focus is on Batwing. While it may not be as smooth or as intense as its clone, this ride is still phenomenal. Its unique flying coaster elements like a vertical loop and the double hardline roll makes this ride incredibly thrilling. And yes, for those wondering, this is my personal favorite flying coaster. Hagrid's is simply incredible. While it may be a family coaster, its astonishing theming and overall experience is what truly makes Hagrid so special. However, it's not like the ride isn't good. What other coaster has 7 launches, a spike, a backward section, and a drop track in one coaster? From its grassy/swampy terrain to its indoor theming sections, it's easily one of the best looking attractions out there, and Hagrid's is the perfect family coaster. And I would be surprised if another coaster like Hagrid's will be built anytime soon. Now, I know this may be the biggest surprise on this list, but let me tell you why. Sure, this ride is probably the most nostalgic for me, but this ride, and I mean this ride, has some of the strongest ejector in Florida. Its long layout loaded with laterals and floor glorious pops of ejector airtime is all I need for it to be a good ride. Since it's all indoors with lots of projection and sound effects, it really adds on to the overall experience. But like I said, those 4 ejector pops are surprisingly good every time I ride it. I'm always stunned by how good the airtime is on this ride. Still to this day, one of the best coasters in the state. Okay, before you all spam my comment section, let me share my point. Is this ride one of the greatest coasters ever built? Yes. Will we ever see a wooden coaster to this caliber constructed again? No. The Voyage is incredible. I mean, look at my reaction to my night ride.
Told you so!
Now look, this ride is just not for me. My night rides during Hollywood nights were godly. But I'm not going to judge the Voyage solely off my night ride because it only operates like that for a combined 7 hours a year. I'm going to judge my daytime rides. Now first, the airtime wasn't as good as most people hype it up to be, but it is incredible for a wooden coaster. The spaghetti bowl is one of the greatest elements you can find on a Woody, and the triple down is sensational. However, this ride is aggressive, and I mean aggressive. And let's be clear, it is not smooth at all. For me, the ride was just too much. However, it is an amazing coaster, but there was one ride I enjoyed a little more at Holiday World. The Legend, it's awesome. I was going into the Legend thinking it would be a good wooden coaster, but that's it. Not one of the craziest and wildest wooden coasters I would ever experience. The laterals are no joke, as you are getting hurled around the layout, and the airtime pops on this ride do not disappoint. The speed hill might be the best pop of airtime in the entire park. Plus, you cannot go wrong with that double helix. The layout is so long that it just feels like the ride never ends. You just really can't go wrong with the classic CCI. Last year, I said how this coaster was so much better than I remembered, and when I rode it again this year, it again did not disappoint. I'll still never forget my first ever night ride, as I was absolutely stunned by how strong the airtime was, and ever since then, Diamondback has been one of my all-time favorite roller coasters. I was flying over every single hill, and it was hauling through the layout. Its long train along with its long layout makes this hypercoaster one of the best, and it has its own splashdown at the end, which is super fun. Still to this day, one of my favorite B&M hypers. Thunderhead at Dollywood is the perfect GCI. It's long, fast, has incredible airtime, and its pacing is on another level. Now, the ride overall is extremely aggressive, but the Millennium Flyers save it, with the best seats on any roller coaster. Seriously, Thunderhead seats feel like a couch. Every time you think it's about to end, here comes another insane ejector pop. This ride is non-stop action until you hit the brake, so it definitely deserves a spot on this list. Now, here's a ride that, as a coaster, is on a whole other level. Maverick has some of the snappiest transitions on any coaster I've experienced. Its airtime is on a whole other level, and that drop is absolutely insane. While most people call this the best coaster in the world, I personally wouldn't go to that level, but I completely understand why people adore this coaster. I don't think it's as crazy as people put it out to be, but it's still an astonishing ride that I need to get back on immediately. Now, just one-upping Maverick is another coaster at Cedar Point, and this is Magnum XL 200, the world's first full-circuit hyper roller coaster. It holds up really well to have that kind of statistic. The layout is extremely simple but powerful. The first half is some amazing floater, and right after that turnaround, you go through those deadly triangle hills. I slightly prefer this over Maverick just because of the second half. The back-to-back-to-back-to-back pops of scary ejector airtime is unlike anything I've experienced. It's personally one of my favorite classic roller coasters. Now, to say this coaster surprised me, it would be an understatement. I was going into Copperhead Strike with absolutely no expectations. Who knew that this ride is absolutely insane? The ejector airtime is deadly, and I mean deadly. Plus, I'm a sucker for some good hang time, and that's most of Copperhead Strike. Who knew that mock rides could make top tier coasters? Good old Orion. I rode it a couple of times when I went back to KI this year, and just like 2020, it was amazing. The drop is still one of the best drops in the world, and even though this ride may not be that long, it still delivers an action-packed ride from start to finish. It's still my personal favorite ride at Kings Island, and it is still one of the best coasters in the world. Now, I've ridden Mako more than any other roller coaster, so I have experienced the lowest morning rides in the middle row and the fastest night rides in the front row, and even after all my rides, it still holds a high spot in my list. I haven't ridden any roller coaster that's flowjector airtime is comparable to Mako. Every hill just flings you out of your seat, and its setting is amazing. I'm interested to truly see if a B&M Hyper is better than Mako, but for now, it's still my personal favorite. Even though it's been 4 years since my last ride, I will never forget this ejector airtime and lateral packed CCI Woody. I was shocked to find out how crazy this roller coaster was after my first ride. The ejector airtime in the back row is killer, especially that drop after the mid-course. Other than that, it's a smooth wooden coaster that takes the wind out of you because it is that insane of an experience. I still have yet to find a true wooden coaster as crazy as Ghost Rider. This alone for me is worth the trek back up to California. I need to get back on Lightning Rod. Even though it was closed on my last visit, I still remember my legendary rides on this beast. While it may be short, it sure is sweet. The airtime throughout this layout is unlike any other, and that quadruple down is no joke. While the retrack made the ride even slower than it was before, El Rod is still one of the best coasters in the world, and you should definitely try your best to get on this beast. Let's talk about the extremely underrated Twisted Cyclone. When I visited Over Georgia, I was able to get 4 rides on this ejector machine, and I was stunned. Sure, it's small and short, but this still has some of the strongest airtime I've ever felt. This one hill after the turnaround, I legitimately think could be the strongest pop-up ejector I've ever experienced. While the first half is quite lackluster, the second half is what shines on this ride. I was shocked to find out how good this roller coaster was, and I need to go back up to Over Georgia just to marathon it over and over again. You see, this is how an enthusiast top 10 works. A few B&Ms, some obscure random coasters, then boom, a marathon of RMCs in the top 10. So, let's just continue that trend with Storm Chaser. While I was disappointed after my first ride, this ride would slowly become better and better throughout the day. The drop is incredible, as the hang time you get in the front row is super bizarre yet super thrilling. Obviously, its airtime is some of the best in the world, and there is a reason why that trick track double up is praised among enthusiasts. Kentucky Kingdom really got lucky with this one, but there was one ride I preferred a little bit more in the exact same park. Similar to Copperhead Strike, this ride blew my expectations out of the water. Basically, imagine if RMC made a normal steel coaster. Introducing Lightning Run. I'm still shocked this is the only one of its kind. This ride should be at every park, and that should be a law. It's super smooth and has what I think is the best first drop of all time in the back row. It's intense, has some quick transitions, and its airtime is legitimately on a whole other level. Another severely underrated coaster. Another RMC we need to talk about is Twisted Timbers. Similar to Storm Chaser, I was disappointed after my first ride. However, after many more rides throughout the day, I was in love. The 3 back-to-back airtime hills are just phenomenal. The trick track double up gives the strongest pop of airtime I've ever felt, and this crazy Outer Banked airtime hill is super snappy. I don't know why no one talks about this element. This whole ride is just insane. It's arguably a perfect RMC. Fury 325. What do I need to say? The speed of this ride alone is top 5 worthy. Its whippy transitions were even better than I imagined, and to feel those transitions with nothing but a clamshell is just insane. And when the ride goes over an airtime hill, it doesn't gently lift you up into the hill. No, it throws you into the hill. This whole ride is just perfect. It's super smooth and just glorious. I don't even know what to say other than it's Fury 325. Top Thrill Dragster is one of the only coasters I have been intimidated by since I have become an enthusiast. Not because of its insane height, but because of its insane acceleration. I only needed one ride in the back row to know that this was one of the best coasters in the world. The second I experienced that launch for the very first time, I was shocked by its incredible force. It really is unlike any other, and that top hat gives the greatest view of any roller coaster. When a Hyper looks like a Vekoma Jr. coaster, you know you're high off the ground. And it dives straight down a spiral drop. While it may only be 17 seconds, it packs enough for it to be in my top 5. While it may not be my number 1, it obviously is going to be extremely high on this list. When thinking about Steel Vengeance, you think of crazy ejector airtime, deadly transitions, and an action-packed layout from start to finish. All this is true. There is not one dull moment on this coaster. From the drop all the way to the back-to-back ejector finale, it holds its pacing and its forces. There really isn't any other coaster like it. It's still my personal favorite RMC and still one of the best coasters in the world. Going into Intimidator 305, I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know it was going to be the most powerful, the most intense, the most intimidating coaster I have ever ridden. I mean, I should have just seen it in the name. But the first turnaround almost made me pass out just because of its force, and that's not a joke. The airtime is really good on this ride, and oh my gosh, these transitions. Just... what? It whips so fast into the other direction that you just don't know what's coming next. I don't even know what else to say about this ride. Now, this is the best coaster in the world. However, when talking about a coaster's overall experience, from its theming, surrounding, and layout together, there's just one coaster that takes the cake for me. Yup, Jurassic World Velocicoaster, the new for 2021 Intamin multi-launch at my home park, Universal's Islands of Adventure, is the best coaster I've ridden. The first half is just perfect. Insane and snappy elements, amazing airtime, stunning rock work and landscaping, and awesome theming. The second half is just as thrilling and so good that by the time you enter the 0G stall, you already forgot about the first half. The ride is just incredible. I truly don't think we'll ever find another coaster quite like Velocicoaster. Well, there we have it. My personal top 25 favorite roller coasters that I've ridden in 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know if you guys agree with any spots on this list. If not, I understand. Everybody has different opinions. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe. If you want to hear more of my popular opinions also, make sure you check out my podcast, On the Hunt. As always, this is Hunter from Theme Park Hunting. I'll see you guys later, and follow the thrill.